ma'am.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning, teacher.
Good morning.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good
Very
morning,
good
ma'am.
morning to all of you.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good
Ma'am, how
morning.
are you?
Yeah, I'm good. How about you?
Fine, ma'am.
Very good. Are you excited to
ma'am.
see me here now?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, so am I. So am I. Actually speaking, you people are so fortunate. Why? Because, this is the first augmented class of this session for you. Just served hot for you, I can say. Are you happy?
Very happy, ma'am.
Yes,
Very happy.
ma'am. Very.
So what you have to do is, as and when you get some questions, you have to respond also. Okay, so be smart enough. I know that you people are so smart. You will respond actively. So listen to this lesson carefully. Today, I have decided to take lesson number 6. This is Geordie's fawn. Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Fine. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
This is Geordie's fawn. This lesson I am going to take for you today. Okay. But before getting into this lesson, I have a small, very silly question I must say to ask you. That is, whenever you come across any such kind of incident where you can treat yourself. For example, suppose if you have a cut or suppose you have a minor injury somewhere, do you rush to the doctor?
No, ma'am.
No.
No, ma'am.
Then what do you do? Then what do you do?
Ma'am, our master gives some remedies, like she will bandage.
You try to do some kind of home remedies, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes,
Suppose
ma'am.
some kind of home remedies you can see in images. These images you can some kind of home remedies you would have seen your mom doing it for you sometimes, or sometimes you do it on your own. Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Similarly, suppose in case if you have a cut, okay, you people do cycling, sometimes you run also, you have a fall. In that case, suppose if you have a small cut somewhere in your body, what kind of treatment do you do?
Teacher,
Yes.
teacher,
We will put band.
page ഇല്ല എനിക്ക് ഈ ചാപ്റ്ററിന്റെ പേജസ് ഇല്ല 71 കഴിഞ്ഞ പിന്നെ 121
Okay, we will look into it afterwards. Now you can see that in the slide, right? For the time being, you just look at the slide. Okay.
ടീച്ചർ ടെസ്റ്റ് മാറ്റി തരുമോ
Yeah, we will definitely look into it afterwards. Okay, no problem. That is not an issue. Okay. Fine, satisfied? Now see. Okay. So if you have a small cut, sometimes some people they apply turmeric. Okay. And do you have any other, do you do some kind of other remedies? Some people they drink turmeric milk. That also heals wound very fastly. Okay, so
Yes,
like
my
that,
mother.
in case if suppose you have you ever seen your mother cooking in the kitchen and she gets a burn injury sometimes? If there is a burn injury, what do you do? Any remedy do you know?
Yes, ma'am.
What do you do?
Apply paste.
We
Ma'am,
normally,
apply honey.
yeah, immediately you should pour cold water, isn't it? You should pour cold water. And I have heard, in my young days, I heard that it is good to apply Colgate paste also. It will not get swollen, people say. We do not know, but then, I heard so. Such kind of home remedies, normally instead of rushing to the doctor, we do it. Okay. In case of bee sting, suppose in case if you have a bee sting, do you ever try some kind of remedy for this? It is sometimes very painful. You get bumps also. Have you ever tried, or have you
Yes,
ever
ma'am.
got a bee sting?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Did you go to doctor for that, or you tried something at home itself? At home itself. So yeah, sometimes we use this iron key and all to remove the sting, isn't it? So today, but before getting into this lesson, see, I just would like to tell you something about the writer. Okay. Marjorie Kinans Rawlings is the person who had written this story. She lived in Florida, US, and she was a writer by profession. She used to write fictional stories. Okay, and she was an American citizen. She was born on 8th of August 1896 in Washington DC, United States, and she died at the age of 57 on 14th of December 1953. So this is all about Marjorie Kinnan Rawlings. And in this story, Geordie's father has been bitten by a rattlesnake. He quickly kills a doe and uses its heart and liver to draw out the poison. Geordie wonders what will happen to the little fawn left without a mother. So I told you something about, have you seen that snake? Dangerous, right? So, yeah, are you scared? It looks real,
Yes, ma'am.
isn't it? Yes. So, Geordie's father, he was bitten by a rattlesnake, very poisonous snake. And you know, immediately what did he do? He killed a doe. Okay. And
See, this is snake in the Western America.
he killed a doe and he killed a doe and then he used its heart and liver to draw out the poison. So that also, we do not know exactly how it is to be done, but then he was saved like that. It is a fictional story, I told you right in the beginning itself. And this was all being seen by Geordie. Geordie wonders what will happen to the little fawn left without a mother. Now, doe. Children, what do you mean by doe actually? What is a doe?
The pigeon type.
Huh? Yeah, doe means deer. Doe means deer. Deer, that too female deer is known as doe. Then its young one is known as fawn. Okay. And what is the male deer called? What is the male deer called? Do you know? Stag. Okay. That is S-T-A-G, stag. Stag means male deer. Doe means female deer. And the young one of a deer is known as fawn. Is that clear to you? In between, I'll ask you. Okay. So, yes. Then what happened? What happened? Listen carefully. Mute yourself and listen carefully. Okay, children? Then Geordie had seen how his father was bitten by a snake and how this doe's liver and heart was used to extract the poison. And then what touched his mind was that the fawn was left there without mother. Okay, so the story basically moves around this only. He was empathetic towards the fawn because he too was a small kid. He too would have thought what would be his life without a mother. Just imagine. So he started thinking in that way. Geordie allowed his thoughts to drift back to the fawn. He could not keep it out of his mind. He had held it in his dreams, in his arms. So, actually, when he reached back home, he started thinking about the fawn which was left alone there. And in his dreams, he was thinking of that fawn, and then he took that fawn in his arms. Then, after thinking all this, he was totally lost thinking about the fawn. He was very much depressed. He was very much sad. And what did he do? He slipped from the table and went to his father's bedside. Penny lay at rest. Penny is his father. Okay, Penny is the name of his father. Geordie's father's name is Penny. So Penny was lying on the bed. His eyes were open and clear. Okay, so he was alive actually. Just imagine, such a poisonous snake had bitten him and he was saved because of the doe. Then Penny lay at rest. His eyes were open and clear, but the pupils were still dark and dilated. D-I-L-A-T-E-D is pronounced as dilated, means enlarged. Okay. So his eyes were open and clear. It was very clear, but that black part of that pupil, it was still dark. Geordie said, "How are you feeling, Pa?" "Just fine, son. Old Death has gone thieving elsewhere." So what he said, he inquired that, "How are you feeling, Pa? Are you all right?" So he said, father responded, he said, "Old Death has gone thieving elsewhere. It means he personified death as an old thief who has spared his life and has gone to steal someone's. Okay, so it is a beautiful example of personification. But wasn't it a close shave? Close shave, children, remember, close shave for when your hair is trimmed, when it is trimmed too short, in that case also we say close shave. But here the meaning is narrow escape. Okay, the meaning of close shave here is narrow escape. So, but wasn't it a close shave? Was not it a very narrow escape? I agree. Penny said, Geordie said, I agree. Penny said, I am proud of you, boy, the way you kept your head and did what was needed. Means, Penny said, I am proud of you. Father was proud of the son. What is the reason? He says that the way you kept your head means he was not moved. He was calm in that tough situation, in that difficult situation also. He was very calm and did what was needed. You did what was required at that time. You were not moved, you were not shaken. So I feel father was feeling proud of his courage. This much have you understood, children? Is it very clear? Do you have any sort of doubt in this?
Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, ma'am.
Okay.
8 points, ma'am.
Pa, yes, son. Pa, do you recollect the doe and the fawn? Then he slowly comes to the point. Okay, I told you he was all worried about that fawn. So then he inquired about his health first, and then he says, Pa, again father responded, yes, son. Pa, do you recollect the doe and the fawn? Then he said, recollect means do you remember? Okay, are you able to recall? Do you remember? Do you recollect the doe and the fawn? Do you remember the doe and the fawn? Father says, I can never forget them. How can he forget? Just imagine, his life is saved because of the doe, right? So he says, I can never forget them. The poor doe saved me. That is certain, means that is sure. He says that poor doe saved me, means he sacrificed his own life and he saved me, father said. Okay. Pa, the fawn may be out there yet. It might be hungry and very scared. Then he slowly came to the point. He said, Pa, the fawn may be out there yet, means it must be alone there. It must be left alone there. It is alone there. It might be hungry because now the mother is not there with the fawn. It might be hungry and very scared. It must be very scared because normally, fawn is less than a year, children. For that only we call it a fawn. It might be hungry and very scared. Okay. So he was worried about that. So he's trying to convince his father that it must be alone there. It must be hungry. It must be scared as well. I suppose so. So father also responded saying that I also think like that. Pa, I am a big boy now and don't need to drink milk. Now, this is how sometimes even you try to convince your parents. Am I right or not? Because instead of coming straight to the point, you try to beat around the bush. Isn't it? You talk about so many other things. Similarly, this boy also.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Isn't it? So, in order to come to the point, sometimes you have to speak so many other things and then you come to the point. Similarly, this boy also, he tried to at that time he tried to make him realize, like how his life is saved because so he got that sympathy. Okay, and somehow, okay, he was very, he was sympathetic towards that fawn, and then he said, Pa, I am a big boy now and don't need to drink milk. He said that okay, yes, I will not drink milk. Whatever share of my milk is there, I will not drink. Okay, he's not coming to the point. Do you remember what I told you? What is that male deer called? Who will answer?
Stag.
Stag. What is the spelling of stag?
S-T-A-G.
S-T-A-G. Okay, fine, good. Well, which snake had bitten Penny?
I'm rattlesnake.
Rattlesnake.
Okay, good. Fine. And how was that poison extracted?
Ma'am, with the liver and heart of the doe.
Yes, with the heart and liver of the doe. Good, very good, fine. So this much is clear to you, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Fine. So let us move now.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, can you explain this line? Old death has gone thieving elsewhere,
Okay.
but
Fine.
wasn't
Yes. Sure.
supposed to.
Sure. See. Actually, now that man, that is Penny, is lying on the bed. You can see, right? You just imagine such a poisonous snake had bitten Penny. He would have died because it was bitten by a poisonous snake called rattlesnake. Rattlesnake. Okay. So then what happened? This doe had saved his life. So what he said, he knew he would have died. Okay, he would have died, but then this line says, old death has gone thieving elsewhere. It means here death is personified because he himself is old. Okay, and here he is, yes.
Did the dog came to him and or he tried to kill it?
Who father killed doe, and its heart and liver was being taken to extract the poison because they know such kind of remedies.
Miss, my doubt is that did the dad supposedly did it or the dog came by itself?
No, it did not. No, not like that. They were somewhere in the forest, children. They were somewhere in the forest, and you can find such kind of animals over there, isn't it? So they happened to see it. Okay, it did not come on its own, and he did not tell that you take my life. Not like that. Okay.
Okay, miss.
Yes. So old death has gone thieving elsewhere. It is an example of personification. Here death is personified as an old thief. Okay, he has spared his life. This old thief has left his life, and that thief has gone somewhere else to take somebody's life. Okay, that is the meaning, very literary meaning of that. Now have you understood? It is an example of personification.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Fine.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, then Pa, I am a big boy now and don't need to drink milk. He said, I am a big boy and now it is not required for me to drink milk. Why don't I go and see if I can find the fawn? So see, now he has come to the point. He said, I don't need to drink milk. I don't want to drink milk, and it is not required for me. I am a grown-up boy now, and shall I go and search for that fawn which is left alone there? He said, and bring it here. Then he asked, he is seeking permission. Shall I bring that fawn here and raise it? It means he wanted to bring that fawn there at home and bring it up, okay, and raise it. Penny lay quiet. Penny had no words to say. Staring at the ceiling, he was lying on the bed. He had no words to say. He was just looking at he was staring. Staring means to look continuously, isn't it? So he was staring at the ceiling. Boy, you have got me hemmed in. You have got me hemmed in. Hemmed in is a phrasal verb. Okay, remember, means caught in a situation where you cannot say no. Sometimes you are in such a position, somebody asks you to give something. Suppose your friend has asked you to give, your notebook or something. Sometimes that friend is so very close to you. You cannot say no. At the same time, you do not want to give also. Do you happen to face such kind of situation?
Yes, ma'am.
So there you can use this phrasal verb hemmed in. Means when you are put in such a situation, neither you can say yes nor you can say no. Okay, when you are stuck. Have you understood? Can anyone frame a sentence using hemmed in? Depending on your life situation. Anything related to your own life. Just give a try. Let it go wrong, no problem, nothing to worry. Can you give a try? Hemmed in. When you are in such a position that you cannot say yes, you cannot say no. Can you give a try? See, without using these, otherwise, tell me.
Can I give a try?
Yes, please.
I was so hemmed in when my cousin asked my favorite person.
Well, I am not able to hear it clearly.
Miss, can I?
You do one thing. Okay, I suggest you something. Everyone has to frame a sentence using hemmed in, and in the next class I will be asking you. Okay, so be
Can you
ready.
say the meaning
Be
of hemmed in?
hemmed in. Have you understood the meaning of hemmed in?
Miss.
Hemmed in
Yes,
means
ma'am.
when you are stuck in such a situation where you cannot say yes, you cannot say no. Okay, I told you, I gave you an example that if your close friend has asked you a notebook and you do not want to give the notebook, at the same time you feel that if you do not give that notebook, your friend will not talk to you. Okay, so when you are in a fix, when you are in a dilemma, okay, you can use this phrasal verb hemmed in. Clear?
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, so let me proceed. Please frame a sentence using hemmed in, all of you. Okay, then it won't take much to raise it, Pa. It will soon start eating leaves and acorns. Then he says that it will not take much to raise it. Means we do not have to spend a lot of money to bring it up. Okay, if I bring that fawn to home, we will bring it up, we will take care of it, and you don't have to spend a lot of money for that. Okay, very soon it will start eating leaves. Now we may have to give it milk, but then very soon it will grow up, and then we can feed it with leaves and acorns. Acorns are a kind of brown nut. Okay, and it is grown on an oak tree. Okay, so it can just then slowly it will start eating leaves and acorns. You are smarter than boys of your age. Penny was surprised to listen to him, and then he says that you are smarter than boys of your age. Smarter. What kind of degree it is? Can you tell me fast? 3 degrees.
Comparative.
Very good. Yes. And what is the superlative degree of? What is the superlative degree of smarter?
Smartest.
Yes. Very good. Very good. Okay, fine. Mute your mic. Yes, good. You were smarter than boys of your age. We took its mother and it was not to blame. Okay, we had taken the life of its mother. So now it should not suffer. That fawn should not be blamed. It should not be suffering. Surely it seems ungrateful to leave it to starve. So I can't say no to you. I never thought I would live to see another day. Now, father is moved because so many convincing facts he has given. Geordie has given so many facts about it, and then he says, father is very much convinced with what he said, and then father says, surely it seems ungrateful. Means it will be too selfish on our part if we leave it to starve. Okay, if we simply leave it like that, son, I can't say no. Okay, I cannot say no to you. And I actually speaking, I never expected that I will be living for another day. I will be able to see another day I never ever expected. Can I ride back with Millville and see if I can find it? Then again he says, Geordie says that shall I go on a ride with Millville? Millville is one of their friends. Okay. So he says, Geordie asks his father that shall I go with Millville and just search for it, see if I can find it? Shall I search for it? Tell your ma, I said you can go. Then see, normally if father has given permission, you ask your mother as well, no? Or you go without asking your mother. Normally it is not like that. You must get the consent from both the parents, right? From mother as well as father. So, so here also he said, okay, from my side I have given you permission, but then you do one thing, you go and tell your ma that I have given the consent. I said you can go. I have given the consent. So it means that she also should allow him to go. He sidled back to the table and sat down. Sidled back, is something like, slowly if you move back the table as though without getting somebody noticing it. Okay, means no one should notice. In that way, if you move back slowly or quietly, that is known as sidled back. Okay, so he sidled back to the table and sat down. His mother was pouring coffee, so he just moved back and he sat down there. His mother was pouring coffee for everyone. Mother was pouring coffee for everybody, and he said, Ma, Pa says I can go bring back the fawn. Then he presented it to mother. He knows, he's very diplomatic by nature. the way how he is presenting his wordings, you know, it says that he is smart enough to manage the situation. So he says that Pa says, I can go bring back the fawn. So he says, I can go and bring back the fawn. She held the coffee pot in mid-air. What fawn? Mother is not aware of all this. This discussion, and she's not aware of it. Then she held the coffee pot. I told you that she was pouring coffee. She held it in the mid-air, and then she says, what fawn? Okay. Then the fawn belonging to the doe we killed. We used the doe's liver to draw out the poison and save Pa. Okay. Then he is telling her that the same fawn belonging to the doe we killed. Okay, I'm talking about the same fawn whose mother was being killed. We used doe's liver to draw out the poison and save Pa. Now emotionally he is trying to get her attention. Okay. Jody says that we used the doe's liver to draw out the poison and save Pa. Pa is saved because of the doe. I'm talking about that fawn. She gasped. Okay, she gasped means, you know, when somebody catch one's breath because of amazement, because of some kind of surprise, with mouth wide open, that is known as gasped. Okay, so she was amazed. Well, for pity sake means just for pity's sake means you're feeling sorry for it. Just for that. Pa says it would be ungrateful to leave it to starve. Then he is not saying that it is his own view. He says, Pa says that it would be ungrateful to leave it to starve. Means it will be too selfish on our part, that if we leave it like that and it will die of hunger, isn't it? Starve means to remain hungry. So if we leave it, it will be very much ungrateful on our part. We are not considerate about it. Okay, and just imagine, it will be so selfish on our part to leave it to starve. Doc Wilson said, that is right, ma'am. Nothing in the world comes quite free. So that one doctor is also there who had treated him. One doctor was also there. Okay, so that is, his name is Dr. Wilson. Okay, so he says, Dr. Wilson, he said, that is right, ma'am. Whatever that boy has said, it is correct. Okay, that is right, ma'am. Nothing in the world comes quite free. Means whatever you have to get, it is not free of cost. For everything, we have to pay something, isn't it? So nothing in the world, you cannot get anything free of cost in the world. The boy is right and his daddy is right. So that doctor also supported him. He said what the boy said is correct, and even what his father said is correct. Millville said, he can ride back with me. I will help him find it. Okay, Millville said, he can ride back with me. I will find him. So Millville, now they all are supporting Jody and his father. So Millville, who all are there all together? How many people are there together in that scene? Can you tell me? Can you name them? Can you name them? Just
Jody.
one at a time, okay? One at a time.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
Doctor
Jody.
Doctor. Yes.
Wilson.
Dr. Wilson.
His mother.
Millville.
Millville.
Jody. And Jody's father?
Jody's
What is his father's name? Jody's father's name is
Wilson
Penny.
and Millville.
Perfect. Okay, fine. Yes. So the doctor says that nothing in this world comes for free, and at least it means in a kind of twisted way, he said it is better to bring that fawn there at home. The boy is right and his daddy is right. Immediately Millville said, he can ride back with me. Means I will take him. On my horse, I will take him. I will help him find it. Millville said, okay, I will take him and I will help him find the fawn. She set down the pot helplessly. She kept the pot helplessly. That coffee pot was there with her. She kept it on the table helplessly. Means she had nothing to say. She was not in a position to say anything. She was just helpless there because she had nothing to say. Okay, because whatever he presented was all perfectly correct. Well, if you will give it your milk, we have got nothing else to feed it. Okay, so if you are going to give your share of milk, we don't have anything else to feed it. Millville said. So it means he got the consent. Okay, she did not say anything. She also, without much of interest, she also gave consent to him and said, okay, fine, if you can feed that fawn with your share of milk, fine. We don't have to give anything to it. Millville said, come on, boy, we have got to get riding. Then Millville said, come, let us go. He called that boy. Ma Baxter asked anxiously, you will not be gone long. Geordie said, I'll be back before dinner for sure. So Millville said, come on, boy, we have got to get
Miss, I
riding.
have a doubt.
Yes.
Miss, what do you mean by Ma Baxter?
Baxter is the name of that child's mother. Baxter is her mother. See, he calls his father Pa. Pa, his name is Penny. He calls his mother Ma. Baxter is her name. Okay? Clear? So, we have got to get riding. Ma Baxter asked anxiously. You'll not be gone long, means you will not be going long, means you don't have to go so far, right? Means she is trying to pacify her, because mother would be definitely scared. The child is going to the forest to find for the fawn. So she is pacifying herself in a way. So she's just trying to get the reply from him. So she said that you will not be gone long. It means you don't have to go so long, I believe. Geordie said, I'll be back before dinner for sure. So Geordie assured her that I will come back before dinner for sure. Then Millville mounted. Yes.
Ma'am, what Baxter?
Baxter, I told you, no? Geordie's mother's name is Baxter. Ma Baxter. Okay, Ma is mother. Okay, he calls his mother as Ma, and Baxter is her name.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. Then Millville mounted his horse and pulled Geordie up behind him. Then Millville, he climbed on his horse and he pulled Geordie also behind him. You can see in that picture how they are going. He said to Millville, do you think the fawn is still there? Okay, then he himself doesn't know where the fawn would be. So he says, do you think the fawn is still there? Yeah. Then, will you help me find him? Okay, then he says that, will you help me find him? He is asking Millville. He too is he's in a fix, he is in a confusion. Though he is going to search for the fawn, he has got no idea whether the fawn will be there or not. So initially he said to Millville, do you think the fawn is still there? Will you help me find him? We will find him if he is alive. Okay, then Millville says, we will find him if he is alive. How you know it is a he? Okay, now this is Millville's question, that how you know that it is a he? Why have you said it? Why that is a male gender, you say? The spots were all in a line. Geordie says the spots on, you have seen the picture of fawn, right? So he says the spots were all in a line. The spots on its body were in a line. On a doe fawn, Pa says the spots are every which way. Every which way means it is scattered here and there. It is scattered. Okay. So on a doe fawn, Pa says the spots are scattered, but here the spots were all in a line. Means if it is a male gender, it will have the spots in a line. It is all aligned. But if it is a female fawn, it will all be scattered. Okay, then Geordie gave himself over to thoughts of the fawn. They passed the abandoned clearing. Okay, then like that they had a conversation, and then Geordie started thinking about the fawn, and they passed through abandoned clearing. Means there was nothing, it was all a barren place. It was not used by the people. It was a kind of forest area, and it was it was not so very bushy also. It was all clear place. It was left, nothing was there. It was an abandoned place, not used by anybody. So they passed through that way. He said, cut to the north. Now take a north. Millville, Geordie told to Millville that now take north, cut to the north, Millville. It was up here that Pa got bitten by the snake, and killed the doe, and I saw the fawn. Then he knew the place where exactly it had happened. So it was up here. He showed him the direction that it was up here that Pa got bitten by the snake. Pa was bitten by the snake at this area somewhere, and doe was killed here, and I saw the fawn here only. Suddenly, so he showed the direction. Jody was very clear about the direction and all. He told it to Millville, and then all of a sudden, Jody was unwilling to have Millville with him. All of a sudden, he wanted to get rid of Millville. Okay, let us see why. But before I could come on to that, one of you answer me. What had happened to Jody's father?
He was bitten by
Okay, fine. Yes,
by rattlesnake.
good. How does Jody know that the fawn is a male?
Because the
Because
spots are on.
spots were on it.
Because of the spots which were all in a
It was in a line.
line. Good. Okay, fine. Thank you so much. Okay. Then somehow suddenly Jody was unwilling to have Millville with him. He was not much interested to proceed with Millville. If the fawn was dead or could not be found, he could not have his disappointment seen. You know, some people are like that. If you have some kind of emotions, some children, they cry loudly, they express their happiness, all that emotions they show it. Okay, but then some people are very shy by nature or whatever. They do not express their emotions freely. So why he did not want to have Millville for the further journey? Because he started thinking. He says that if the fawn was dead, or could not, in case if the fawn is dead, or in case if it is not found, he could not have his disappointment seen. He did not want that. He will be very much disappointed. Jody will be very much disappointed, and he do not want anybody to see his disappointment. And if the fawn was there, the meeting would be so lovely and so secret that he could not endure to share it. Okay, so in both the ways, he did not want to show his emotions. Because so one reason was, in case if it is dead, if the fawn is dead, or if it is not found there, he will be very much disappointed. He did not want Millville to see his disappointment. And if it was on the contrary, it was on the other way round, he would be very much excited. Okay, the meeting would be so lovely and divine, and he would like to keep it. That he wants to enjoy himself, that he did not want to share it with anybody. So yes, so he said, it is not far now, but the scrub is very thick for a horse. See, this boy was really very intelligent. Okay, he did not want to disappoint anybody. He did not want Millville to feel bad. Okay, so he did not want him to continue. He did not want him to feel bad. So he said that from here it is not far now, but the scrub is very thick. That scrub is that long thick grass. Okay, it is very thick for a horse. He said that that grass is that scrub is very thick. I can make it on foot. He said that I can make it on foot. Okay, I can just walk and go. So it is not required for you to go. So what he said, how did he try to convince Millville that for your horse this grass is not good, it is very thick. Okay, poor fellow, it will be having problem. So what he said, that now hereafter I can walk on foot, but I am afraid to leave you. That Millville said, but I am afraid to leave you, boy. Suppose you got lost or got bitten by the snake too. Suppose in case if you too get lost in this place, and if suppose if you too are bitten by a snake like your father, he will have to take that responsibility. I will take care. Jody said, I will take care. It might take me a long time to find the fawn. Maybe it would take some time. It might take a long time to, find the fawn. Okay, leave me off right here. Then he said, if he is wandered, okay, so I'll take care. It might take me a long time to find the fawn. If he is wandered, leave me off right here. Means if he has gone here and there, it might take a little longer for me to find, but then it is okay. There is no problem. All right, but you take it easy now. You know, north here and east, Then he started asking, do you know the directions? Melville asked whether you know the direction. Then easily, very casually he said, there and there. That tall pine makes a bearing, means it is a kind of landmark. Okay, so I know the directions, and that pine tree is a kind of landmark. I know the direction. So long. Melville, I am obliged. Okay, I told you this boy is very diplomatic. He said, so long have you brought me here, Melville. I am really grateful to you. I am obliged. He waited for the sound of the hooves to end. So this boy, this man, yes, tell me.
Ma'am, actually I had some network issue, so did you call my name?
No. It's okay. Okay, now you listen to it. Okay.
Thank you.
He waited for the sound of the hooves to end. Then what did he do? He waited. Melville left the place and he waited there itself till that sound gets over. Sound of the hooves. The tough part of the foot of the horse is known as hooves. Till that sound gets over, he waited there itself. Then cut to the right. He went to the right. The scrub was still. That grass was still there. Only his own crackling of twigs sounded across the silence. He wondered for an instant if he had mistaken his direction. So there was complete silence around. Just imagine that situation. That boy was there all alone in that forest. No sound was being heard. Only while he was walking, whatever sound was there, he could hear because of the scrubs. Only that was breaking the silence. Then a buzzard rose in front of him and flapped into the air. Then all of a sudden what happened? A buzzard is a kind of vulture. Okay, so he saw that a buzzard, it rose in front of him and started flapping into the air. He came into the clearing under the oaks, and then there was I told you there was a place which was with nothing was there, nothing was grown over there. It was a plain area. This bird came down to that clearing under the oak trees. Buzzards sat in a circle around the carcass. Carcass is the dead body of an animal, is known as carcass. Okay. So buzzards, these birds, huge vulture, they all sat around that dead body of the doe. They turned their heads on their long scrawny necks. Scrawny means when it is unattractively thin. Okay. So they turned their heads on their these buzzards, they turned their heads on their long scrawny necks and hissed at him because they saw this boy standing there. Okay, he reached to that place where the doe was lying dead, its dead body was lying there. These buzzards were all around it, and then they saw this boy. They looked at they turned their long, ugly, thin necks towards him and they started hissing at him. He threw his bow at them and they flew into an adjacent tree. And then what did he do? He threw a branch of a tree at them. They flew to a nearby, adjacent tree means nearby tree. The sand showed large cat prints, but the big cats killed fresh and they had left the doe to the carrion birds. The sand which was there, he went close to that dead body and he found that the sand what was there, it had large cat prints, means the footprints of cat family. It could be tiger, it could be lion, it could be huge cats, wild cats. Okay. So, but the big cats killed fresh. Normally what happens, this kind of cat family animals, tiger, lion and all, they kill such kind of animals. They eat the fresh flesh. And what they do, they leave it for the birds. And that is why these birds are called carrion birds, because they don't hunt these animals on their own. They depend on such kind of hunted animals which are hunted by other animals. They feed on that. So they are known as carrion birds. These buzzards are carrion birds. That is why they were having it. So he could see the footprints of those birds. He parted the grass. He removed the grass. Yes?
Ma'am, is that fresher flesh?
Fresh flesh, I told you, they depend on fresh flesh. So when it was killed, it was eaten by the cats. Okay. Flesh it is when it was fresh, I mean. Heard?
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Killed fresh, it is fresh only. When it was fresh, at that time it was eaten by them. Okay. He parted the grass, he removed the grass, long grass were there. He removed it, he parted it at the place where he had seen the fawn. He went to that place where he had seen the fawn. It did not seem possible that it was only yesterday. means it was he couldn't believe that this incident had happened just a day before. The fawn was not there and he couldn't find that fawn anywhere. He circled the clearing, he went round that clear place, he went round, and there was no sound, no sign, absolutely no sound, no sign was there. The buzzards clacked their wings,
Plumage with three color morphs. All have obvious dark carpal patches at the wrist of the wing.
Why? Because they were having
you're
it.
cute
They were
little
having
thing.
that flesh, and they were waiting for that boy to go so that they could have it once again. He returned to the spot where the fawn had emerged and dropped on all fours. He again went to the place where that fawn was left, where the fawn had emerged and dropped on all fours. Means it fell down on all fours, on four legs. Studying the sand for the small hoof prints, the night's rain had washed away all tracks except those of cat and buzzards. Then actually the previous night there was a rain, so all the footprints were being washed away. Only the footprints of the cats and buzzards were being seen at that place. Movement directly in front of him startled him so that he tumbled backward. So when he was thinking about all that, he could feel some movement there. The fawn lifted its face to his. Okay, immediately he saw the fawn was there. Okay, he lifted that face to him. It turned its head with a wide, wondering motion and shook him through with the stare of its liquid eyes. And he was shaken to see that fawn over there. He was very much excited, and that fawn also had tears in its eyes. It was quivering, it was shaking, trembling. It made no effort to rise or run. Seeing this boy, the fawn also did not take any effort to run away from there. Geordie could not trust himself to move. Geordie also was not able to move from there. He never wanted to move from there. He wanted to convince the fawn. He whispered slowly, he said slowly, "It's me." The fawn lifted its nose. The fawn also did not move from there. It lifted its nose and it started scenting him, started sniffing him, smelling him. He reached out one hand and laid it on the soft neck, and then Geordie, with one hand he started laying on its soft neck. The touch made him delirious. The touch made him very excited. He was extremely happy. Delirious means happy. He moved forward on all fours until he was close beside it. Okay, then he moved forward on all fours. This fawn moved towards him, and then until he was close beside it. Okay, so the boy moved towards the fawn, and then until it was very close to it, very just by the side of it, he put his arm around its body. Then he hugged that fawn. A light convulsion passed over it. A light convulsion means shiver. Okay, slight shiver he could feel when he was hugging that fawn, but it did not stir, it did not move, it was there only. Somehow he was not moving from there. He stroked its sides as gently as though fawn were a china deer and he might break it. Okay, so he stroked its sides. It slowly he moved his hand gently with a slight pressure. He was handling it in such a way as though it is a china deer, and with little more pressure, if he puts a little more pressure, it will break. So in such a delicate way he handled the fawn. Its skin was very soft. It was sleek and clean. Its skin, he could feel that, while touching it, he felt that it was very sleek and clean. It was very shiny. It was very clean also. And it had a sweet scent of grass. Okay, so delicate it was, and he could feel the scent of that grass from his body. He rose slowly and lifted the fawn from the ground. Then slowly he rose and he lifted the fawn from the ground. Its legs hung limply. They were surprisingly long, and he had to hoist the fawn as high as possible under his arm. So he lifted the fawn, but then its legs were very long. They were surprisingly long, though it was a small fawn, but its legs were surprisingly long, and he had to lift the fawn, hoist the fawn, means raise the fawn as high as possible under his arm. Is it interesting, children?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
You must be anxious. Yes. So, do you have any doubts so far? whatever I have taught in this? Do you have any sort of doubt? Is it absolutely clear?
Ma'am, one doubt.
Yes, please. Somebody who has got doubt, please ask.
Ma'am, I have one doubt, ma'am. The carcass was of the mother, right? The dough,
Yes,
right?
yes. Anything else, children?
Can
No,
you
ma'am.
explain
Thank you.
the first paragraph of the story?
Pardon?
The first paragraph of the story. Can you explain?
First half of the story once again.
No, ma'am, only the first paragraph.
First paragraph. Okay, see, one thing is it's already actually time. I'll do one thing. I will have one more class. Okay, in the next class, I will definitely revise the whole thing once again and then only I will proceed. Is that okay?
Okay, ma'am.
Fine. So I hope you
Okay.
have enjoyed this class. Yes?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. It was an interesting class.
Yeah, isn't it? It is because of that augmented reality class also. That adds to it. Okay. Thank you so much for your cooperation, children. Thank you so much. You may exit now. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you and have a wonderful day.
nice
Please
day.
exit.
It was interesting class.
Thank you, ma'am. Have a nice day.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Have a nice day.
Have a nice day.
Thank you, ma'am. Have a nice day.
Yes.
An interesting class, ma'am.
Okay, fine. We will make it more interesting. Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
Have a nice day, ma'am.
Do revise. Read the lesson.
Thank you, ma'am. Have a nice day.
Have a nice day.
Thank you,
Ma'am,
ma'am.
thank you, ma'am. Have a good day. It was a wonderful class. Ma'am.
Yes. Children, you may exit now, please.
After page number 72, I am having 91 page number.
Yeah, see,
89.
it
So
must
that
be.
I don't have.
Yeah, please do contact here in the office. Okay, for that you please do contact here in the office. We will find. They will find a solution for it.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you so much. You may exit now, children.
Thank you, ma'am. Have a nice day. It was a wonderful class.
Thank you so much. Have a nice day.
Thank